Hello, teachers, and welcome to the heart of lesson number 15, the crushing seed. So, this is the one story that we are going to deal with up through the cross that technically doesn't have a tree, but it's because it's all going to be. I'm kind of treating it as all part of the main first tree narrative of Adam and Eve being tested at the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So this is going to be like the third part of that story. I'm going to start us off in the sanctuary by reminding the kids that there was a promise given to Adam and Eve that the seed of Eve, her offspring, was going to crush, technically the offspring, but crush the serpent's head, right? And defeat God's enemy once and for all. And so we hear that Adam and Eve end up having children, Cain and Abel, and we are eagerly anticipating for one of those seeds, those children, to defeat this enemy of God. But instead of crushing the head of the serpent, Cain ends up crushing the head of his brother, metaphorically and literally, but yeah. And so we see that sin has its way and is not resolved with Cain or Abel and won't be resolved with any of these people. We need Jesus to come and save the day. So technically not a tree in the story, though we do have the seed imagery, which is tree-like, and we're treating it as like the third part, finishing out this narrative of the testing at the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and we see death quickly entering the scene just as God had warned them about. All right, so into the more nitty-gritty. There will be 2 stations again, and then the God at Work station. This week, the Taylors will be taking over the battle plan station. So in this station, you're going to be talking about how we should create a battle plan or have strategies that are preparing us to be able to crush sin instead of letting sin crush us. So the sin that is most prominently displayed in this story is that of jealousy. And so that's what we're going to focus in with your battle plans, your strategies, though this idea and some of these strategies might be helpful for students to fight against any sin. We're going to try to narrow in on jealousy in particular to help kids kind of come up with different ways that they can fight against jealousy, taking root and crushing them in their lives so they can crush it instead. There's some fun metaphors of just within the story itself, it talks about this sin is like a beast that's like crouching, trying to attack its prey and stuff. So I have a couple of things to play off of that in your station, and I gave you some things to discuss when it comes to jealousy in particular and strategies against it. But there's definitely more things out there, so you might include some, you might skip over some, depending on the group. Some of them might be not quite age appropriate and a little bit more difficult for the kindergartners to understand versus the 5th graders. So feel free to make those strategies different depending on the group that you have. The second station is going to be all about the actual story of Cain and Abel. I'm going to be setting up the story, but I'm not going to be covering it in the sanctuary. So that'll be a time where we are actually learning that story more thoroughly and looking and seeing how jealousy took root in Cain's life and really messed it up, but also seeing how, once again, God is gracious and merciful. And though there are consequences given to Cain, there's also this free gift given to Cain of protection that he does not deserve. So we see God's justice and his mercy once again at play there, just like it was for his parents. That station will be covered by somebody, not Joe, because he's away. He'll be back for Wednesday, but doesn't have the time to prepare this week. So Joe will be taking over the God at Work station. Once again, that's just a station that's all about sharing how you've seen God at work in your life, sharing that with the kids, and then giving them an opportunity to start to learn how it is that they can be looking for where God is working in their lives and in the world around them. The gym will have a fun game that plays off of something that the Taylors will be talking about, this whole idea of, when you go out hiking in the Rocky Mountains or somewhere out west, there might be grizzly bears out there. And so there's things that you might plan and strategize so that a bear doesn't attack you, or if a bear is attacking you, what are you going to do so that you survive? And so it's going to play off of that. It should be fun and simple. And yeah, looking forward to this week. Hope that it all works out well. Let me know if you have any questions, if there's anything I can do to make things more interesting or to help you out so that things are just easier on your plate. And I'll see you on Sunday, hopefully. If not, I'll see you on Wednesday.